Alright, for this video I want to go through the IRS Form 1099 INT for the 2023 calendar year. And in this example we're going to look at a taxpayer reporting interest income in box 1 on their return, but they also have some federal income taxes withheld in box 4. So we're going to talk about why that happens generally and then where you would report it. So we've got the 1099 INT here, and we've also got a sample form 1040 for our taxpayer, which includes the Schedule B. So we'll go through that, and then we've also got just the IRS website here covering backup withholding tax issues. So what happens when you are looking at your 1099 INT and you have some investment income? So we have interest. There's no other investment income reported here, but we also see this box 4 amount for federal taxes withheld. Well, this generally happens when you have what's called backup withholding on your investment income. So backup withholding happens really in two different circumstances. So the rate that they withhold is a 24% tax on the gross amount of that investment income. And it happens for one of two reasons. So the first one is you fail to provide a correct tax ID number to the payor, right? So if you're filling out the account documents and you provide an invalid Social Security number or an invalid ITIN or an invalid EIN, the payor of the interest might, if they can't validate your ID, they have to withhold under the backup withholding regime, which is 24%. The second one is if you fail to report that investment income on your return and the IRS is reviewing your returns and says, okay, we're going to send a notice to the payor and they're going to have to withhold the tax. So if you happen to have one of those two happen to you, then you'll see something like this in box 4. So we have $200 of interest income, which is just regular taxable interest, and we have federal income tax withheld of $48. So that's 24% of the $200 amount. Now, this income has to be reported on your return, but you do get a credit for the amount of federal income taxes withheld. So if we look at Adam's tax return here, if we go down to Schedule B, so we have entered the interest income here, Schedule B, Part 1, from Not Real U.S. Brokerage Company Limited. So we are reporting the $200 of interest there, which is ultimately flowing through to page 1 of his 1040, and we can see it's here included in his overall income. So he is including the $200 of taxable interest in his adjusted gross income and ultimately his taxable income. Now, what do we do next with the federal income taxes withheld? So the federal withholding reported in box 4, $48. This is reported on page 2 of the 1040 on line 25. So line 25, normally most taxpayers will see an amount for 25A. Right, so if you have wages reported up on 1A, you're likely going to have federal taxes withheld, federal income taxes withheld, reported on your W-2. That goes down on line 25A. If you have other federal income tax withheld from forms 1099, which we do, those amounts are reported on 25B. So we can see we've got a $48 payment credit for the backup tax withheld on that investment income. So the taxes aren't lost, right? You do get credit for it, but it's really important that this is reported here. Otherwise you are going to lose out on the ability to claim those credits. Now, what's also really important is you want to report the gross amount of interest here. You don't want to net the two together. So in other words, you could be in a situation where Adam's looking at his bank account and the bank account interest that was actually deposited is the difference. So he might be looking at his statements and he says, wait a minute, I've got, what's the difference there? $152 was actually paid into my account. Maybe I should just report the $152. No, that's not how it works, right? The total amount of interest reported to you was $200. That's what you report as income, and then you report the income tax withheld as a separate payment amount. All right, so that covers it for this tutorial. I hope that was helpful. Any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. And as always, I appreciate you watching, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Thank you.